Hello there, welcome to my YouTube channel Saint Nightingale. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to cut the bustier pattern using brown paper. So I had already marked the starting point. The starting point is 7 inches from the shoulder. I moved over to mark the bust point. The bust point is 11 inches from the shoulder. So from the shoulder measurement to the nipple point is 11 inches. So I am placing the starting points so you can see with the acronym SP, and for the bust point with the acronym BP. So after doing that, I would now move over to secure the underbust measurement. The underbust measurement for this person, for this design, is 14 inches from the shoulder. Measuring from the shoulder to the underbust is 14 inches. So I would mark 14 inches on the paper across it. So I would look for other areas to place the 14 inches. To make it easier for me, I just mark from the bust point to the underbust to be sure of what I was doing, so I won't have to place the measuring tape again at 7 inches from the starting point. So I got 3 inches. I took out 3 inches from the bust point downwards and marked it from left to right. So after doing that, I picked my ruler, the short ruler, and I began to connect the dots that I had already made. So after connecting the dots, I would now write the underbust acronym, so it's easy for me to know that that's the underbust. Now, as you can see, we have already marked the starting point, the bust point, and the underbust point. After this, I will now move over to secure the waist point. The same style. The starting point is 7 inches, the waist point is 16 inches. I try to find the difference between the underbust and the waist point, which is 2 inches. And so right now I am marking the 2 inches from left to right, so that eventually I would use the ruler to trace from left to right the 2 inches that I have marked from the underbust point. So after doing this, I picked up the ruler again, the short ruler, and I began to mark draw a straight line across the points that I had measured from the underbust point. After doing this, as well as the same thing I've done with the others, I would check to be sure that the 2 inches that I have marked is accurate, so that I don't have one part shorter or one part longer. I'll do the same thing by placing the acronym waist points so that I know which is which, like I'm doing in this video. So I would encourage you to also mark that so you don't get confused along the way, to know which is the starting point, the bust point, the underbust point, and the waist point. And here we go, here it is. So after this, I would now move over to locate my nipple to nipple point. This is the design that I'm going to cut, and this is what we have here. So let's move over to secure the nipple point. So the nipple point is 7 inches, so you divide 7 inches in 2 places, which is 3.5 inches. So as you can see in this video, I'm marking 3.5 inches from the starting point to the bust point to the underbust point and then to the waist point. After marking this 3.5 inches, I will now take my ruler from the starting point, connect the line or connect the dot to the bust point, to the underbust point, and then to the waist point. Here you go, and here it is. So 3.5 inches from the beginning to the end. So from the starting point, I will now take 1 inch inwards and 1 inch outwards, like you can see. So you would take 1 inch before and after. At the end of the day, you have 2 inches like I've done there. So you take again another 1 inch from the underbust point on both sides of the line, as you can see in this video. And then you also take another 1 inch on the waistline, as you can see in this video, from both sides, which will give you a total of 2 inches on the left and on the right. So after doing this, I would now take my curve ruler. The curve ruler will be used to connect the dots, the 1 inch that are taken on the left side, towards the bust point. Remember, we're doing a bustier cut, so I'm trying now to place the curve ruler from the mark that I had created, which is 1 inch, towards the bust point to give that curve. So I'm now going to take the pencil and I'm going to mark this on the paper. So draw from up down, and then you do the same thing from the bust point to the under bust point. You secure the curve ruler. I mean, if the curve ruler isn't giving you what you want, you can flip it over and then place on the paper to get that accuracy that you want. So I'm taking this again from the bust point to the under bust point. I'll do the same thing again on the right side of this design. I'm taking what I've marked from the starting point to the bust point, and then I would also do this again for the other side, the lower part. So from the bust point to the under bust point, I'll take the pencil again and then I'll mark. After doing this, you can see the dots just by the under bust point that leads straight down to where you have the waist point. So you take the ruler and draw a straight line from the under bust point to the waistline. So at this point, I want to now secure my bust measurement and my waist measurement. The bust measurement is 36, so 36 divided by 4 is 9. So I would measure 9 inches on the paper. I remember I had taken out 2 inches when I was trying to create the bustier cut, so I will add that 2 inches to the 9 inches that I have taken to be able to get my allowance. So you can see the 9 inches is there. I'm now going to take 2 inches, which will give me 11 inches in total. After adding the 2 inches that I had initially taken out from this pattern, I will now proceed to adding another 2 inches for the sewing allowance. I mean, the better the allowance you have for you, so you don't run at a loss after joining. So I'll do the same thing. Take the underbust measurements. The underbust measurement for this design is 30. So 30 divided by 4 will give us 7.5, and then I add 2 inches as well, and another 2 inches to get my adequate allowance needed. For the waist point for this design is 29 inches. So I'm going to also divide this by 4. By dividing this by 4, I would leave it at 7.5 and then add 2 inches for what I took out before, and then another 2 inches for the sewing allowance, just so that I have enough fabric to work with. After doing this, I will now connect the dots from the starting point towards the bust point, towards the underbust point, and then towards the waist point. And here we go. This is the pattern that we have created. I'm doing a sweetheart cut, and because of that, I'm going to nudge my sweetheart cut from the starting point inwards, the area where I have the bust point. I'm working with 1 inch, so I took 1 inch from left to right and 1 inch from up to down, and then I used my curve ruler to get the curve that I need for the sweetheart cut, because this bustier design is going to have the sweetheart cut. Try to darken the line so that I can see it properly. Do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, St. Nightingale, so that you can follow up with more tutorial videos. I hope this pattern works for you. If you try this out, let me know in the comment section. I'll be looking out to read from you. Thank you again for watching. This is St. Nightingale. See you next time. Bye bye.